A Sherman can give you a very nice edge.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Man Cave Models. A new day, a new dawn, a new kit. So we are going to be tackling the 1/16 Sherman. This is the M4a1 medium tank light, and it's made by I Love Kits, which I believe are Trumpeter. I've seen a few little reviews on this, and it's mixed results on the quality and things like that. Fine, that's okay. It's a nice subject. If you're willing to try it, then try it. If you have bought this and you want to build along with it, then build along, because it is one of those kits. So we're going to get started. I'm not doing an in-box review. There's a few of them already out there that would probably do a lot better job than me. Plus, this thing takes up a fair bit of room in the box for this, and there's not. I'm going to say there's not a lot of big parts to go through. There are a lot of parts, mind you. So we're going to get started, and for the first sort of parts, it is asking us to build the bogies. Wow. Now these bogies are pretty good. I'm going to say pretty good, as they are. The only downside I've found so far, sorry, I'm just trying to get something. Downside I've found so far is there is one of our wheels. Now if you look, so be careful with these, because just in there, look, grease nipples, but you haven't got anything on this side. So when you put a kit together, just make sure that these grease nipples are sticking out, facing outwards, not in. And obviously the other downside that I found so far is it's got rubber, I don't know if you call it tyres, rubber pads, tyres. This part, as you can see, it's rubber. It's a pain to sand to get it, because there's a nice seam that goes all the way around. Yeah, it's a pain to sand, and to be fair, I'm not into painting rubber. I've got rubber tyres on the Cooper wagon as well, I have, and yes, not a big fan of painting rubber. I'd rather paint it black and weather it that way. Let's put it that way. So let's get some parts out. So we are doing. Let me think. So we'll start with this one here. Now, I'll show you why in a minute. So yes, we're going to start with this and get these parts off a minute. So give me 2 secs. So we've got our parts, which are that one, that one, that one, and typical. Yeah, sorry about that. That part just rode off into the floor. And those two, yes, they have proper springs, and yes, they are. It is all movable. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off doing this one. Sorry, let's get that into focus. We're going to start off sticking this one together first, because we want this glue to go off a little bit anyway, because it does take a little bit of strain. So, and they go basically this way. They sit in that way. Now that's where the cut off is off the sprue, and as you see, I haven't done an excellent job of cleaning it off. You can just see it there, look. But you're not going to see it, so I'm not overly worried. extra in there, bit extra in there. See it on there for a minute. Now these bogies are what can I say? How can I describe these really? They're okay. The fit's really good. The only downside is it's a bit fiddly to put them together in a minute. But so you've got the, there you go. But there you've got the cast numbers and stuff. But if you look at the plastic, it's as smooth as can be. And also on here there are, I'm pretty certain that's nuts and bolts supposed to be in here that bolt this on, so you can they take it on and off, but there's none of that. No, we could add nuts and bolts. It depends how complicated we want this kit to get ready. But for a minute we are just going to get them together. So I'm just going to give out a couple minutes just to sort of harden up a little bit, and then we'll be ready to put it together. While that's still it is still drying, let's work through some of these parts. So these are Q22 and Q8, these two, and that's Q22 and Q8. So what you do have to watch is, like what I did originally was I just cut all the parts off, worked out where they were going, and then you just end up with these all over the place. But when you put them together, so I know that I'm going to have to put them in like this, glue there, which I'm going to do now anyway, and I will show you actually the mistake that I've made. It's a bit hard to rectify it as well once you've done it, but I'll just go around with a chisel, clean it out in a bit and show you. So that's those two parts. We'll do the same with the other wheel, making sure that the grease nipples are pointing outwards. Look. Same with this one. And it's like the way you put it, it would be nice if they had done away with this on the other side and give you a screw that you could put through, so you could keep the wheels off for painting, because once this is together, this is a bit of a, it's going to be a bit awkward to get into everywhere, and unless you paint everything on the parts tree before you fit it, for these it's just going to be a pain. And then with that, if you do paint it, then you've got a problem with the glue sticking the parts together properly, because they do need a fair bit. So, and notice on this here as well, while we're on the subject of this bit, there is no texture. That's supposed to be a cast part, and it's dead smooth. So I'm going to rectify it. And also, when you put on the return rollers, you see the two little holes there. Look, that's where the grease nipples would be there on the back. Okay, you have got two holes, but you've all got the sig marks as well. No, you're not going to see them once they're in, so you don't need to sand them. Just make sure that you put it facing out, so the sig marks aren't facing out. So you go in on this is the back of it. You can tell by that. Just make sure he goes in there like that. There's our spring carrier. Goes in, does work. Yes, well, here we go. We'll get it together and you'll see. What I've been doing is popping these in first, popping this in. It's going to be on camera as well, so this is going to be a complete nightmare. Drop the springs in. So what I did, have been doing, you can see this is a pain already, can't you? Oh, I hate springs, I really do. So what I did was I put that in with sitting there. Yeah, so I put that in there like that with the spring sticking out there, and it's looped onto that. And I did the same with this side and looped it on like that, just to keep it in place. Actually, don't want it a bit too tense. That's it. So there's not actually any strain there then. And then I basically drop this over the bottom hose. Found myself my pair of tweezers, like so. Weak that up a little bit. Now the spring should stay in place because you've looped them on. They've got nowhere else to go. You can just see, so this bit has got to tuck up into this bit like that, and that gives us a bit of a gap there then. And then what I did, I just from there I'll compress the springs back into that little hole there. It's not ideal. There's no way you can't hold this. You can't hold this and get these springs into place at the same time. It is virtually impossible. And now I'm showing you on camera, it's even worse. Don't have to be vicious with it, you just gently slide them in, open it up a little bit more. Yeah, won't get in there. See what I mean? It is a complete pain in the bum. Especially when they don't want to go in. Right, goes. I've tried this numerous ways, and if you do it where you try and get the springs, everything in first, it doesn't. What happens is it just plays up. The spring tends to go where it wants to go. That's just me moving the spring along a little bit. Now, see, it's gone there. Look, you can't see this, but you just see it bending over. And you can't get into there to strain it up. You can just, I think you can just see it there. Look, just in there, it's bent straight. Look, so I have to start again. Yes, there is. Once you've done one, it does become a bit easier, but it is a nightmare. Have to start on the back end. You have to get these springs like this. So like if I can show you what happens, if you try and compress these in now, like that, what happens is they don't want to do what they're supposed to. And there's not a lot of room in the bottom, so what happens is it catches the bottom like that, and then that becomes a nightmare. Now I could just put this together, pause the video, put it together and show you it done and go, oh guys, this is how it does it. I think that's a bit of an unfair thing to do, and now I've got to go and find my spring. Right, spring's back. Take 2. Take 15. Yes, this is by far too fiddly for my liking. Well, after 20 minutes off camera, as you can see, it's all together, and this is what they're going to look like. No, because all the parts, some silly bugger, shall I say, I'm not going to say who, forgot to add 2 parts. So, which they go into here, like so. And then you notice, make sure I got this right. They go outwards, and when that's parts together, they sit against there. So yes, it does help if you put some parts in as well, doesn't it? So yeah, make sure we got them the right way around. That goes into there. That one, it goes into there. It is, in all fairness, they could probably a bit more stable now, look. But they could have probably done this a lot of an easier way. You still can't get the springs right down to full tension. So what I got to do is try and do as much as I can, then flip this one on top just to try and hold it all into place. Right, now it's squeezed together. You should be able to compress that spring down and tuck him in. That's one. And 2. There we go. So all that complaining, get them going. That's quite tight actually. That actually feels a bit too tight. I think one's bent over. Let's have a look. Gently have a look. I'm just going to open it up slightly. Use my pliers. Yeah, that's it. That's it. He's in there. There. if you drink, now's probably the time to have a drink, to be fair. I don't drink, so I'll have to just put up with it. Get some glue on there. But they're probably in the design of this kit, they probably could have come up with a better way of getting that lot together. That is by far quite fiddly. Once you've done one and you know what how you sort of know how you're going to get them in there, it's not so bad. But just to start, it's there you go. Now I found with these, if you wiggle them around a bit, get them moving properly, you'll get a few clicks and bangs and clunks where the springs actually will sit properly. See that should probably come down a bit further. It won't, because it's on that cam thing there. But if I look at that, see, it's such a tight fit. When these are done, they're not, the springiness, they're not that tight. So you think they're going to be really tight, but they're not. So don't panic if they're not. I still don't think that one of these is sat properly, because that's pushing down and that's pushing up. Look. Yeah. And there's no way. Now I've just been and glued it. I think I'm just going to live with it, to be fair. But that's not, now that's not too bad. Well, I think, well, what can I say? So, yes, after a bit of fiddling, they go together, they work. If you don't forget to put bits in, like I did, to start with, it is still very fiddly. There must be a better way of doing it. Even if this was on pins and you left this bit out, push these in, then lock these in afterwards, it would probably be a bit easier. But once you've done one, in all fairness, the others aren't too bad. So there's two. This is the other side. So we can zoom out. Right. Yeah, and then there's this one, which is, you notice it's black. It is black, and there's a reason for that. So off camera, obviously, I've done the rest, and to do that, this 5 was probably quicker than doing the one that I filmed. Yeah, so where we are with this one, as you can see, it all works like so. Everything works. Now the problem we have with this particular one compared to these, you can see this. So I've gone over that with Mr. Surface Primer, just to give it like the semi-cast. I haven't got mad, and there's only certain parts you need to do, like there, here. Don't touch that because that's steel plate. So we'll do that quickly on camera. And I'm not too worried about the seam marks, because if you look at the original bogies on one of these, there is a seam mark down there actually, and it's a bit, they are a bit rough. And I have to use that one. So I normally got an old brush for this, but I think it might have had better days. So all we're going to do is, this is Mr. Surf's, no, I think it's, yeah, 1000, but a bit old, so it's a little bit thicker. Now if you haven't got this, you can use your Tamiya thin, paint it on, let it go a bit tacky, and then dab it with an old brush. Don't go too mad with it, and if it goes a bit over the top, you just sand a little bit off once it's dry. But that's all we're going to do is this, just dab it on. Is those two sections. That's section 1 and section 2, and that's your left and right side of your bogies. So there, so that one I painted just to see what the texture was like, and to be fair, I should have done it in a different colour. Black's a bit hard to tell. It's yeah, but as you see, it just, if you go through them when you do it, you'll feel how much spring there's supposed to be in them, and they're not. They're not overly strong, heavy springs, and they don't need to be, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once I've added 6 of these together, that's a lot of springs. So our next part is going to be, well, it says attaching the lower hoe, so it will be lower hoe, cutting off the lugs, and then attaching our bogies in place, which in its own right leaves a couple of questions, to be fair, because like I was saying, it's quite an area to try and get into and paint, especially up underneath here. So once if you look in there, I'm not sure how well we're going to get in there, and then if I fix them to the hoe like it's saying, I've got no movement there at all. At the moment I can do that, and I think what we might do, in which case, is probably just clear the hoe, put these to one side, flip over, and then start doing all the other bits. So like the rear end, the rear exhaust deck, and some, and the front gearbox cover and all that lot, and leave it till the very last, I think. So that's our plan on it. Right, so our next part's going to be cutting off lower hole. It's got these lugs to cut off, and then it's showing us to attach the bogies, which we're not going to do, and then it shows us on part 4 the back engine bay, air filters, and that's number 4, and number 5 to 6 is adding all the extra bits and transmission housing. I'm going to go for, it's not the order of build, but I'm going to put this part on, which is Y3, and attach the transmission cover. And the reason I'm going to do that without adding any of these parts is because if I need to fill or sand anything, it's going to be easier to do it with anything without the bits and bobs on. So we can fit that, let that go off, and then start making these parts up. So that's what we're going to do. One part of the bottom hole, no, that is quite big, so I'm going to have to adjust the camera a minute, because you're not going to see this otherwise. Right, that's a little bit of a better view. So what it's asking us to do is cut off these lugs, so we'll do that. I don't know why, so this part wasn't on a sprue, so it's very possible this is how it's moulded. Let's just do that quickly. Sanding stick. Right, quick jump in with this. So this is cleaned up, put on. I'm not overly keen on how this transmission cover fits. It seems like you can put it out of alignment quite easy. It's no dead stop. This is it stopping is where that's touching my mat at the moment. But it clearly looks like there should be something there. And it is not showing us anything on the plans. So that's it showing it fit. That's it showing you put your bits and bobs on. And look ahead a little bit more, there's nothing there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these two bits, which should keep it all in alignment, I think. So I'm going to go that way, and I know it's jumping ahead a few steps, but it does mean that you're going to have to put it on anyway, and it makes no difference when you put it on, because we're going to paint these off anyway. But it should help us make sure this transmission cover goes into alignment. So let's have a quick look and see how it goes. So we'll follow the plan itself. That should be this side's part 8, which is, no, is it part 8? Hang on, I might have got that totally wrong then, because it's a bit strange. It's got all your mode lines underneath, so I'm presuming 2 seconds. Sorry, that was me. So that one's that side, this one's this side. So you shall sit in the grooves. So, and then when you put your front plate on, in a minute, no, just put these in. Right, stick some glue on that. Stick that in. So, got a bit more of an area to cover with glue, so just not using the brush I got with the Tamiya thing. So, looking at a photo on the internet, there is no obvious weld seams here, here, here or here, but it does show that there's a couple of parts come down here, down this section here, that's it, and these are, that has got a weld seam, and along here is a weld seam, and as you see it hasn't got it here, but we have got some extra weird little bits to look at, sorry, some weird little bits to look at here. So we'll get these filled and let them go off, but yeah. So let's get that going. Right, a quick jump in with this. Be prepared, guys, because the parts are on all different trees. So to get these parts and these parts, I think I've opened virtually nearly every bag there is, which is it's okay, but it's a lot of parts, a lot of room. So let's get these cut off anyway. Right, I'm just going to let the filler go off, glues dry for a bit, and then I'll be back cleaning these up and putting them on, which will be probably about a second for you, but a couple hours for me I expect. So back in a sec. We've had a bit of drying time, should be able to sand these off now. Right, that brings us up to all the parts. Put them in yet, I'm going to leave them off for a minute. So that's what we're going to do, get all these parts on now. Oh, and before I do that, the fit on these has been quite good so far, and the plastic cleanup wise, flash isn't too bad, and the plastic is quite nice. It sands or scrapes really well, so it all stays like that. Now also it looks like the back doors have got hinges, and they look like they're probably going to be you can open them and close them. We probably won't go for that. There's no need, there's nothing in there. I'm not RCing it or anything like that, so we'll probably just glue them shut anyway. But if it's a possibility, if you want to have these opening, it looks like you can. So I'll shut up and start putting the bits on. Start with the doors. Oh, and also I've sanded. I have sanded off here. Look, so it's sanded. Somehow I'll go through this camera. Right, that's all those bits on. The right way round for you. I've popped a couple of clamps on here while it dries off, just to keep them tight against here. Actually, put that one off because he is pulling off there. I think that'll be a better fit. It's pretty good. But that's basically that hatch. This hatch, look, it will open. I'm going to let these go off a bit. But that is the main part of our lower hull put together. Underneath, some nice detail underneath. So we have that done. We have our bogies done. So then that will take us to part 5, which is going to be exhaust pipes and rear idler wheels. So and part 6 will be sprockets and the little plastic bit that goes in here for the to hold the sprockets in place, and that should, yeah, that brings us up ready for tracks then. So I think I'll see how we're going. I think that'll bring us up to the end of this video because I'm pretty certain it's tapping on time wise. So until the next video on this, the build's been okay. It's plastic seems to be nice to work with. Obviously the bogies were a bit of a pain in the bum. Once you've done one, they're not too bad, and to be fair, I had that usual thing that when you try and do it on camera it just becomes a nightmare. So bar that, so far so good. Quite enjoying the kit. So until next week, please like and subscribe. Lets me know that you're enjoying the videos or you're finding them useful. I will try and drop a couple photos in, or a photo in here of the back area of this, showing that there's no weld. But yeah, apart from that, have a good week everybody, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.